Before we get into this video, I would just like to issue a very humble apology. I am sorry to all the people whose eardrums I pierced with the most recent two videos, these two on screen right now. Basically, I have this little object. Unfortunately, I can't say what it is. It makes my dorm room feel just a little bit more comfortable during these cold winter seasons. And I had it on. Makes a little bit of noise. It was in the background. I didn't think it would show up in the recording. It did. And instead of, as like a normal object sound, it instead showed up as like this ear-piercing sound, as if like your ears are ringing or something. It's very subtle, thank goodness. It's not like in your ears completely, but if you listen closely in those two videos, you will hear it. It's there. And I checked, I made sure I wasn't going crazy when editing those two videos. I checked, it is in the recording. It's the recording. So I'd just like to apologize to any eardrums I have pierced, because I did not know that was going to happen. I personally thought that the mic wouldn't even pick it up, personally, because the mic I'm using to record this, as well as all the other videos on these channels, it has a very, very strict pickup pattern, as in it will only pick up sound that is directly in front of it. And that's basically what you're hearing right now. This object that was making my room feel a little bit better, it's a good few feet behind me. It's really not that close. It's almost on the complete other side of the room, in fact. So yeah, that's all I've really got to say for this section. I will probably never use that object during recording sessions, as comfortable as it may make the room feel. But anyways, welcome back to another yap session of a video. We haven't done one of these in a hot minute, so yeah, I thought I'd just throw one up. This one is going to be about a particular day in my life that I just kind of want future me to come back to this video and hear me talk about, like in 5 or 6 years, I don't know, sometime in the future. Because oh boy was it a day, and it needs to be documented. Basically, this day was none other than January 25th, exactly a month after Christmas, which I think makes this day even more ironic. Basically, at this time, 14 US states were currently being affected by a snowstorm. The state I live in just so happens to be one of those states. And I was just about to feel it. And January 25th was the day where my US state would feel the effects of this snowstorm. However, that wasn't all, because I had one of the most frightening wake-ups of all time. Basically, I was just sleeping, not really doing much. The hour was about maybe like 6:50 in the morning, and I didn't really have a whole lot going on, I wanted to sleep in. I actually sleep better here at the college than I do at my parents' house. So yeah, I've been getting in my hours of sleep now that vacation is over. It's been over for a hot minute now. So I was just doing that, and you know that state where like you're kind of awake right before you actually wake up, but you're not actually awake? Basically I was in that state, I was kind of tossing and turning a little bit, trying to find that good, beautiful sleep position that, everybody is trying to look for. And whilst doing so, I thought I finally found the position. I suddenly feel this liquid on my lip. For some reason, it's on my upper lip between my nose. And I'm thinking, my nose must be running. And I was like, dang, my nose must really be running. And I crack my eye open just slightly, and I see this dark fluid on my pillow. And at that moment, I was like, holy frick, so I get right up. And apparently, somehow, I had gotten a bloody nose in my sleep. I don't know how, but it was bad. So I immediately got a tissue, plugged it up. Luckily, it went away like 30 minutes after, plugging it up and everything. But it kind of shook me up because I didn't really exactly know how long I was bleeding for. And this blood stain, it's on my pillow. So it looks like I killed somebody, not gonna lie. So that was a little frightening, that's for sure. I'm just glad it was able to go away, because it was brutal. Like, blood was coming out. You'd think I cut myself or something with and it was a deep frickin' cut. Kind of scary. And it kind of shook me up for the rest of the day. It actually partially got on my nose, too. It was kind of bad. In fact, one of, if not the worst bloody noses I have ever had. And what's really scary to me is not the fact that there was, that much blood everywhere, but the fact that I had no idea what caused it at all. Anyway, so I went to the bathroom down the hall to wash up. It wasn't that much blood on my nose, just a couple specks of like dried stuff. You could definitely see it if you were looking at my face. And you'd probably think, what the frick is going on with this girl? Like, come on now. So I immediately washed that off. It was dried up, so it had been there for a hot minute, so I had to kind of apply a little bit of force when cleaning it. After that, I looked virtually the same, but why I include these details is because I really thought it would be quite the opposite. I thought, like, for a second there, I was dying. Like I was about to go under because of blood loss and everything. I was about to kick the bucket. Luckily, I did get to see the next day. However, not before the snowstorm that I mentioned earlier took its effect. So basically, this day was a day where I was going to work. I work part-time at the local Walmart. It's pretty chill most of the time. I guess we'll see how that statement ages. I have heard some things about Walmart, that's for sure. And I haven't been working here this long. I've been working at Walmart for like a couple months now. Maybe like a full month if you exclude the break I had. Which luckily they were really respectful of that. You know, I didn't encounter any problems during the break. They completely understood. I commend them for that. That was really good. But that's kind of going a little bit off topic with this video right here. Basically, the snowstorm happened. It hit the area right when I was in work. So about midway through work, I go to the front window, basically. So you know how at every Walmart there's those big doors, the big glass sliding doors. You can see right through them. You can see right out to the front. And I look out and I see that there's these big frickin' snowflakes coming down. The whole landscape outside looks unrecognizable because just earlier that same day, it was sunny out. And I'm not saying like it wasn't cold. It was definitely freezing. Like, this area has some really cool temperatures, to say the least. It's quite brutal sometimes. In fact, just earlier that day, I had read a Discord message that just so happened to be announced by one of the servers I'm in. It was basically a warning about the storm and how frostbite was kind of something to be aware of in these temperatures, which also kind of shook me up. So that's two things shaking me up so far. And now the snow coming down like this is a third thing. So yeah, it was quite an anxious day. And you know what was even crazier too? I didn't really have much to do at work. Basically in Walmart, I work for the department in charge of your online orders, basically. Basically what we do, we have a team of people. They go out, they find things in the store, and we basically, in a nutshell, get them to the customers, essentially, who ordered online. Sometimes it's by delivery, and sometimes it's by pickup, where they're outside the store. That wasn't happening today because of the storm, because obviously, if you've been out in the snow before, you'll know that the snow is very dangerous for driving around. And we didn't really want to have any customers trying to risk their lives out there in that storm because, oh boy, it was brutal. So I was basically in charge of making sure the shelves looked all neat and tidy, essentially. Me and all the other coworkers that would normally be searching for things on the shelf with our little carts and scanners and stuff. Instead, we were all tasked with just going around and making sure the shelves were all good, which got very boring. Because the shelves already were pretty good. There were a lot of us, especially at the start, on duty that day. So I wouldn't be surprised if like the whole frickin' place, or at least 99% of it, was already looking pretty nice when we got there, basically, or when I got there. Because I work part-time, I'm not full-time. I think that would be absolutely brutal during a college semester. So I had a 4-hour shift that day. The snow started midway through, so I got to the place just fine. No anxiety from driving through snow and fearing for my life that I'm going to crash, because this place is also in a hilly area as well. So there are quite a few ditches around here, and I actually had to drive up a hill to get to this Walmart. It's on a little bit of an elevated area. Not as elevated as some of the other areas in this town, but definitely elevated enough where you can definitely risk slipping off the road that's taking you down, because it's also a curve. So that's kind of my first obstacle when I was exiting the place. First though, I think the next relevant detail to share would be that after the snow hit, I got to see what a Walmart was like after all the customers take off, because there were no customers, or there were very few. Like, I want to say in the entire store, and it's like a super Walmart as well, so it's one of the bigger boys out there. There were about 3 customers in the whole store, so it was dead. And I kind of wish I got pictures to show around here, but that did not happen because I was too busy listening to the radio, basically, for weather updates. And essentially, it was this meteorologist guy. It was literally pre-recorded, I think. It was the same old thing over and over and over again. But I was just listening in anyway, especially towards the end, because at that point, like, the majority of my coworkers had left. But I decided to stick it out for my full duration of my shift, even though I believe I didn't have to. Although I think technically, officially, I did have to on paper. But basically, employees were starting to leave as well because of this weather. There wasn't a whole lot of work to do, especially like in the last hour of my 4-hour shift right there. So I was just chilling, looking at shelves basically, not actually changing them at all to make them look nice. But at this point, I was just trying to find a quiet area just so I can listen to the radio. So that way I can see if there's any change in these weather updates. And that was kind of when the fact that this is kind of a big storm kind of hit me, because they were listing off like all the different areas that were being hit by this. And I heard there were like some states in the south that were being affected as well, like in the southern Appalachian Mountains and stuff. Anyways, after listening to that, my shift finally ended. It felt like the longest shift ever, like ever. Because I literally didn't have anything to do. All I could do was just walk around the store and look at stuff. So yeah, eventually my shift ended. I had to go outside, brush off my car, which was practically buried in the snow. That was fun. And then I had to get it out of there as well. And luckily, thank goodness, I actually survived, because I legitimately don't think I would be alive to record this right now if things hadn't gone the way they were. So I had to go extremely slow. Luckily, my college isn't too far away. But it is still a little bit of a distance. But I had to take it extremely slow through the snow. I could barely see for part of it too. But luckily, I had my defogger on in my car, so it was kind of melting the snow off the windshield, which is why I couldn't see anything in front of me. And the fog was absolutely crazy. I was truly driving in a storm right here. So eventually, I finally returned to the college, but I also had to walk through the storm as well, because the designated area where first year students are supposed to park is a good distance away from the actual living area. Not sure whether that's on purpose or just because they decided to prioritize all the other people. Probably a combination of both. But it's quite a hike. And there is technically a shuttle you can take, but that thing was not coming in the storm, that's for sure. So I had to walk through this storm. It was brutal. My hands were numb completely. My face was numb. But eventually, I finally returned to the dorm. And yeah, it's kind of where we're at right now, basically. I'm not recording this the day of. I'm recording this a few days after, because I kind of wanted to think about what I wanted to say in this video. But yeah, that's just kind of something I really wanted to document on this channel. A little something different for once. I know everyone watching this is probably used to me just playing games and stuff, but I do kind of want to make some personal videos like this as well. Just me talking about my life, I guess. And I think this was quite an event I may or may not experience again. I am relatively new to this new region of the state I'm in right now that's a little colder than what I'm used to. So yeah, I guess I'll just have to keep you posted on my other snowstorm stories. But anyways, if you like what you heard, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Join my Discord, link below. Haven't been plugging it lately. And yeah, that's about it. See you later.